Isometrics. Everybody loves them, all brass players. Because you really think that you're going to get quick and easy strength right away. And actually, for the most part, it's true. So I demonstrated the Bud Brisboy tuba mouthpiece exercise, and that's a toughie. Just hold it with my lips. I did the pencil trick on steroids. This is a wooden spoon, and it's much longer and heavier than a pencil. And then our friend, the P.E.T.E, personal amateur training exerciser from Warburton. And there's a lot of other isometrics that you can do. So for you people who are relying on these isometrics to take up the slack in your practice, because you're not always able to practice as much as you'd want, or you got plenty of time to practice but you're doing these to supercharge and get your chops on steroids almost. When it comes to the trumpet embouchure and actually the other brass embouchures out there, now here's the problem. Here's the real problem. Okay, so these and other things that you can do will increase your strength. In fact, they'll do so dramatically. If that's the case, then why not just do a handful of these and leave everything else by the wayside? And how come everybody can't play as high as they want to? You know, so what's up? Here's the problem. If you don't do these in just the right way and for a right amount of duration, what happens is you lose the flexibility here in your lips. And in some cases, your lips can get numbed out to where they don't even vibrate that well. So you gain the strength, you feel it. You feel the strength here, lots of muscle, right? So why isn't it working for everybody? The reason it's not working for everybody is this. You're catching a case of lip stiffitis. Lip stiffitis. Ever got a cramp from working out too much or running or biking or whatever? You know? Well, the same thing happens here, but at a slightly different level. And by doing too much isometrics, you're going to increase the brittleness, the stiffness, and unfortunately suffer quite a loss of flexibility. You say, so what? I got strong chops, baby. I'm going to blow right through that. Au contraire, my friend. So yes, you did build up some strong embouchure from these isometrics, right? But remember, trumpet playing and, well, let's name the other instruments. Trombone playing, euphonium playing, baritone playing, French horn playing, tuba playing. Whenever you get into the upper register of each instrument, it's about efficiency, isn't it? It really is about efficiency. So here's the problem with practicing these isometrics. And by the way, they are in my course and I do teach them. But here's the problem. Most people don't understand the concentrated part of isometrics. So you end up building the strength, but your range doesn't really go up that much. Your tone gets airy. You start having trouble with just simple lip flexibilities, simple normal slurs that you encounter in regular music. And so you've lost flexibility. You've got a good case of stiffitis in your lips. And so why can't you blow out those high notes? Why can't you last forever? You know, a lot of people that are really heavily involved in isometrics will tell you that it's a panacea for all-day endurance. One of the methods out there that I went through a long time ago is CARMINE CARUSO, and I haven't even touched on that method in a long time, but it is heavily weighted for isometrics. So how come everybody's not doing CARMINE CARUSO? The reason that they're not is because what you gain on one scale, you lose on the other. So you get heavy chops, yes. Unfortunately, you lose the flexibility, stiff, and guess what? You end up tilting it the opposite direction you want to go and you get worse. Why do you get worse? Because when you get ready to blow, think of it this way. You want the best flexibility and the best response. And let's see if I got any response after doing those exercises. Just easy, right? And even after doing that, I can tell my tone got just a touch airy. So there's positive proof right there. Don't do too much of these. So, but no, it's basically because I didn't warm up and I started doing these. So I have an excuse. Okay. It's about efficiency. So, and response. So if you build this up and can't get your lips to vibrate soon enough, easy enough, and be very flexible, what happens is you're spending a lot of your energy and a lot of your chops almost forcing those lips to vibrate. They're blowing, you have to blow a little harder. You have to maybe use a little bit more mouthpiece pressure. The end result is counterintuitive because you just built up strength. You can feel it. You can really feel when you got good chops, you know. You can actually start to see the muscles pop out. And I'm not a skinny guy. You know? So I got some meat on my bones, but you can still see the muscles popping out when you got chops. So when you got the chops, you feel it, but if you can't get the notes to come out or your sound is airy, really airy, and you can't do octave skips anymore and you can't slur and can't lip trill, you should know that you got a serious case of stephitis and it's likely come from doing too much isometric. So that's the problem. We all want a nice little shortcut, right? Do this and the P.E.T.E. and where's my pencil on steroids right here? It's your old grandmother's wooden spoon, isn't it? Look at that. It's you'll find that that's not a walk in the park to do that one either. So we always want something that will just get us to where we need to go quicker and easier. And problem with isometrics, you just really got to know what you're doing. And I've actually been around the block on isometrics and done everything the wrong way. Done everything so-so. And then I got this stuff down to a science of exactly what you need to do and when, the sets, the reps, and the rest. So if you don't know that, you're going to be doing what I was doing years ago, hitting and missing. And if you do it the wrong way, you might find yourself not being able to play, you know, for a good week or two. If for some reason you are raising your hand guilty and you're having trouble playing, you're having trouble with air in your tone, you can't slur that well, you can't hardly do any shakes, your endurance has gone out the window, you feel like you're playing right on your teeth all the time, it might be because of the isometrics, if you are doing the isometrics. And if you and I never actually speak in person, I would just tell you this, you know, you're going to have to bite the bullet and quit playing for a week, maybe up to 2 weeks, and start back and gradually kind of get in the groove. Don't do any isometrics. I know that you don't really want to hear that, but if you are in this position and we don't talk, you have to understand that you got to quit playing for a week and maybe up to 2 weeks and start back all over. It's a process and it does require someone, you know, a teacher to help you go through it if you wanted to be able to do it correctly. So anyway, there you got it. You got your answer. You're looking at all these isometrics and you're seeing maybe even some celebrity players playing, right? And you're going, dang, they can play that good. Maybe I should get it and start doing it, but you start getting worse. And that's the reason. You got the chops, you've lost the flexibility, and you're just blowing hard, and you're being inefficient, and all of a sudden your endurance goes out the window. You don't got any range because you burn everything up. You know, it's just like those hot rods, you know, that go a quarter mile and 300 miles an hour. You know, but they're not going to go for 1,000 miles. They blew their wad after a quarter mile, and that's what you're doing. You're blowing it all up, and you're done. So take my advice. This, I think, was a very valuable trumpet lesson, and I consider it a brass lesson for everybody else. Do the isometrics, and you do it too much in the wrong way without the proper guidance, and not only will you not gain range and endurance, you might actually find yourself worse than before you ever started. So, Kurt Thompson, hope you enjoyed this trumpet lesson about the embouchure, or trumpet embouchure, brass embouchure, and the isometrics that we can do, that we carefully have to be involved with. And I hope that maybe you might consider hit me up. It's my job. It's my job to help you get better. If you can recognize that, then give me a shout at Kurt@TrumpetSizzle.com. Cheers.